everyone, and welcome back to Homestuck Squared. Woo! We are starting this month off. Oh, hello Jade, and hello anyone viewing anonymously. Very important for me not to forget to say hello to you all. We're starting off our twice monthly updates. Hi Max. Yeah, we're starting off with 2 updates a month now. So we've got this one that came out on February 14th? 15? Hold up. 15th. Yes, it was the 15th. And we should be getting another one in about a week, if my calculations are correct. Very exciting. So we're finally starting on the 2 updates a month. And we've got another chapter here, chapter 4, which is called The Contest. But before we do that, we've got... hold up here, let me just... This, which is John Egbert's bedroom in 360 VR. This was linked on a Discord server that I'm in a while ago. And you can see his feet on both sides. I think it's pretty neat. I will link it in chat if you would like to explore it. And also, both of them standing around looking pretty stupid. Anyway, oh yes, this person has made like a whole bunch of, like, you can see it's mostly it's entirely Undertale over to the sides here, but there's like a whole channel full of this sort of VR stuff. So if you like Undertale, there's also some pretty sick stuff from Undertale on his channel. But yeah, I just thought that was really cool. So I put yes, I did put the link in chat. Good. Yeah, so that's that. We have here the Steam post for Jane's Pester Quest, which I forgot to find when I streamed it. Hi Aleph, this is the Steam tab. It's just the post. I forgot to grab this before streaming Jane's Pester Quest. So I just wanted to take a look at it with y'all now because I've been bringing these up. I do have the Jake one bookmarked for Jake's Pester Quest tomorrow. So that's all good. But Jane Crocker, Trickle Down Baconomics, World's Best Grandma and Conundrum Investigator, are the 3 little bullet points that Jane has been given. And here's the little emojis. You know, the wallpapers, the usual stuff. So I will link that if any of you want to take a look there. But yeah. So that's all that is. I just forgot to look at that before. Wanted to go over it now. And that last tab there is a thing that has to do with what we're reading today. So I won't show that one yet. Okay. Chapter 4, The Contest. Light years away. So you can likely tell by the fact that we are on an alien planet that we are returning to the Theseus. Oh my fucking god. And returning to Rose and Dirk and Terezi. So, light years away. And this planet art is really neat. And we see a smoking wreckage over here. Which, if I remember correctly, there was discussion in the first chapter of the ship not being built with proper landing equipment. And 3 sets of feet coming out from this hot fucking mess. And who's that? In the distance? Could it be Rose? Rosebot? Who just like... I love this redesign so much. You know what I wish I could remember? All of the really interesting things that I read on Discord. Because I know there was stuff that people had pointed out, specifically about the points on the crown. And that as a design choice. But I guess that's what I get for not streaming it when it actually came out. So, I just love the flow of the dress and like the blue accents going all the way up. Oh, thank you for the F in chat. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, F in chat for Theseus. Just bit the fucking dust. Okay, I'm gonna start reading now. I just keep staring at it because it's so gorgeous. Like, I already like loved Rose and loved her character design and all this other stuff, and now it's just like, oh my god. Beautiful. Okay. Rose, however, was not the first dialogue we're reading. It's fucking Dirk. So, let's get some conversation going. Are you finished posing dramatically out there? I think Terzi wants a turn. Rose, enter. And note, she's referred to as Rosebot. Rose is in the commands, but Rosebot in the dialogue here. She's more than welcome. I've had my fill. Feels good, doesn't it? Now get over here. We've got business to discuss. Rose, read to yourself more symbolically this instant. Oh my god, I just totally glazed over Terzi's new design because I've already seen it. And it was not the focal point of the image. But look at Terzi. Look at my girl. Terzi's new design is interesting. It's fitting for her character. No, I'm just silent because it's a look that is not quite within my tastes, is how I would put it. But it's very fitting for her character. And I've seen a couple people pointing out some interesting things about, for example, the shirts that she's wearing specifically. Like the green coat with the gold trim looks like something that she would have found on the Theseus. Like something that Jake would have worn. The orange tie looks like it could have likely come from Dirk's wardrobe, given the color. And she grew her hair out. That's the other thing. Her hair is now like halfway down her back. The first time I saw this, it like weirded me out because she looks like, because when I looked at her, the first kind of registration that hit my brain, like it immediately registered as Latula, not Terzi. Libra sweatpants. Yes, and she's now got the symbol on the pants instead of on the shirt. And those pants do look really comfortable. But yeah, that was it first read to me, and my brain went Latula. No, wait a second. Like, in the course of a split second, my brain was like, what? But it's very Terzi, and those fucking shoes. There's a name for that kind of shoe, but I don't know what it is. But I know that there is a name for it. It is a very specific type of shoe. And just taking a look at specifically what's in this room that they're in. They're in this cave. They've set up camp in this cave because they crashed the fucking ship. Not entirely their fault, seeing as Jake did not put landing gear in it to begin with. However, They were able to salvage a few items. We have some blueprints or something on like a rolling whiteboard behind Terezi. The kotatsu with Jake's blanket. They were able to salvage that table. There's a couple succulents, colorful succulents. What appears to be a record player. A couple items behind it that it's kind of hard to tell what they're supposed to be. And, of course, the horse painting. The horse with the football guy behind Dirk on the wall there. Very, very important piece of history to preserve. Rose, render yourself more symbolically this instant. And now we get the sprites. Yeah, it's definitely a record player. Oh, a tablet pen. There's a stray tablet pen on the floor. I still can't quite tell what's supposed to be happening. This looks like, seeing the tablet pen makes me think that this is maybe supposed to be the corner of the tablet, but I still can't quite tell what's supposed to be going on back here in this little corner. So Dirk was just telling them all that they got shit to talk about, so settle the fuck down. And now he is addressing Terezi. Terezi, you too. No thanks, I'm good. In fact, now that we're here, I can't imagine anything worse than sitting down with you two for another little chat. You've ruined the very concept of talking for the rest of my life. Oh, come on. It wasn't really all that bad, was it? Dirk may be completely insufferable. Thanks. But we've had some pretty good times over the course of our journey, didn't we? I'm struggling to think of any. Oh, how you wound me. 3 years of anime plot analysis is enough to turn any relationship sour. All right, that's fair. The anime was rather tedious. Wow. But I posit that it could have been much, much worse. At the very least, none of us succumbed to substance abuse, or re-succumbed, I guess I should say. The perks of not having an appetite or a liver, in my case. In yours, I'm actually not sure. Perhaps the underlying cognitive dissonance or trauma you were originally trying to distract yourself from is no longer a going concern? Or... no, wait. That's not right. I'm thinking of a different Terezi. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different me. Maybe the different me is thinking of a different Terezi, and I'm just witnessing the thought happen as a bystander. It's much the same thing at this point. And I suppose I'm also prematurely ruling out the potential of anime functioning as an abusal substance. So we get, like, an interesting look here at, like, the kind of... the way that this, why can I not remember the term? My goodness. Ultimate self. Sometimes it just takes an extra second. The ultimate self, and how the ultimate self's, cognitive processing and, like, thought, just, like, general train of thought functions. Multiverse? Oh yeah, Homestuck is very, very much with the multiverse theory, but Rose's the Seer of Light is maybe getting this sort of dissonance a little bit stronger than, say, I don't know, I was gonna say Dirk, but then I was like, well, he's the Prince of Heart, so, you know, heart being about the self. Maybe he would be getting this kind of fuzz too. But as the prince, maybe there's some kind of, like, cutting this sort of fuzz out of the thought process for him. I don't know, but I think it's really interesting. So for this particular interpretation of the ultimate self that they are using, it's interesting to see just how muddled the thought process is. Like, you'd think that with, you know, gaining ultimate knowledge. It would be like a self-actualizing kind of clarity type moment, but for Rose at least, we're seeing it's not that at all. And she can see all of these things, but they're kind of melting together in an overwhelming fashion. Hence why her human body was decaying, I suppose, with all of this information flooding in at once. It was a lot. I mean, even in this robot form, which, you know, I mean, Dirk made it, so it's not, that doesn't mean that it's, that means that it was a bot made for this purpose, but that doesn't mean that it was perfectly made for Rose and handling all of this in the perfect way, right? Like, he made this bot and he was like, here you go, just hop on in. No testing needed. But even this bot is being overwhelmed by trying to process all of the process and separate all of the information that Rose is getting. Continuing on. And I suppose I'm also prematurely ruling out the potential of anime functioning as an abusal substance, in which case I've got very bad news for all of us. We may need to formulate a 12-step plan. Let me know if you show any signs of withdrawal. Rose. Oh my god. My point couldn't have been made any more obvious if you sat on it. We may be in complete agreement about Dirk being a tedious nookwipe. We are? Shh. But newsflash, you aren't actually any better. Sleep without soapboard doesn't come easy to my species, and yet I somehow managed to spend a good chunk of our 3-year journey unconscious. That is how fucking tedious the two of you are. I mean, that could also be the depression. But, that aside. And the worst part is that neither of you actually have the decency to do anything legitimately awful. You just sit there and drone on, talking about things that don't matter and asking questions that don't have answers. We're on a new planet, seeing things which have possibly never been experienced before, and all you can think to do is hole up in a cave and regurgitate completely pointless bullshit. It's called philosophizing. Well, it should be illegal as far as I'm concerned. I love Terzi, and also I love Rose a lot. Ugh! Stop calling her that! And you see, we make the transition from Rosebot to Rose. Because the other thing about Rose's actions is that it's important to still take them with that grain of salt. Because she is still under Dirk's influence and not fully privy to exactly what he's done, how he's been controlling the narrative and like all that sort of stuff. She's still under his influence, and he is still flying under her radar, so to speak. Of course, now Terzi being Seer of Mind, like even back from the epilogues, right? She already was clued in and like picked up on what Dirk was doing, and his like influences and thoughts and stuff. She can hear his kind of narrative monologuing in her head, while Rose can't. So, hence, Terzi noticing Rosebot to Rose. Because Dirk is still thinking of them as separate beings. Or, you know, Rosebot as, like, different from or above, quote-unquote, regular Rose in some way. Okay, I'm done. Screw you both. I'm going to go and introduce some plants to the troll emotion we call terror. Well, if you change your mind about the philosophy, I won't. Okay. Terrazy out. Goodbye. That was odd. Even by Terrazy's standards. She's fine. Doubtless. But wouldn't it be best to wait for her to return before discussing our future plans? Whether she likes it or not, she is a part of this goofy expedition. She isn't a part of this, though. A part of this? This. So I think it's really interesting to watch the particular language that Rose uses to refer to their trip and to Earthsea as well, when they start talking a little bit about Earthsea later. Because even though she's still under Dirk's influence, right? This goofy expedition, like, she's still on some level, at least at this point, not, like, there's something holding her back from being fully into this, regardless of Dirk's meddling and, like, mentally pushing her to be here and now and wanting to do this kind of thing. And now he's gonna get pretentious about the fact that they're both ultimate self god-tiers. You mean she isn't a god? She isn't a ruler. She isn't suited for it. And we are? Good question. Yeah, we get... I think this is, like, intended as, like, their... like, the kind of narrative mapping that we saw Dirk doing in the introduction. But, yeah, she isn't suited for it. And we are? Very important question. And, like, and where is Dirk getting the idea that she isn't a ruler, she isn't suited for it? Other than her not being god tier. Come on, you know that we are. But I think I can present a pretty convincing case if need be. Oh my god, okay, because that's a fancy Santa, and that was a tablet. I guessed correctly, that corner was a tablet. But this, all you could see was, like, this, like, little part here, and I was like, I cannot fucking tell, but that is undeniably a fancy Santa. And there's the, like, Robo Maplehoof dressed as Lil Cal. Oh, it's not just a record player, it's a whole turntable set. Duh. Oh my god. That makes so much sense. I'm so sorry. I'm still just, like, a touch sick. I just need to turn off the mic for, like, 1 second so I can blow my nose. It's very annoying because it's like, I'm basically fine, except I still, need to blow my nose every once in a while. So I'm going to take, like, 10 seconds to do that so that I can keep reading like a normal fucking person. Okay, that is better. Had a little water too. So, here we go. Oh yeah, so this is a longer conversation and it's got some philosophy stuff. Right, I think I remember there being some sort of stuff that I wanted to like Google before doing this on stream to make sure I had my facts correct. However, I didn't get around to doing that today. And I think it was some of the philosophy stuff from this conversation. So if there's any philosophy folks in chat, feel free to chime in if I am super fucking wrong. Come on, you know that we are. But I think I can present a pretty convincing case if need be. So you wanted to have a dialectic about it first, just to be sure. I'm game. Where shall our allegory begin? Beg pardon? Oh, come on. The cave? I have to say I'm a little disappointed in you. 3 years, and not once did I witness you replacing any parts of the ship. How are we to jerk ourselves off philosophically if you don't lean into your clumsy illusions? Okay, this stuff I understand. So dialectic being like, a two-person dialogue with two different sides kind of philosophy thingamajig. That's a very, very much a layman's definition, but I think I got it. And they're talking about allegory and the cave, Plato's allegory of the cave, which I don't remember what it actually is. It's like the person sees the shadows on the cave's wall, but not the action that's actually happening to create the shadows, and it's building opinions of the action that's creating the shadows based only on the shadows, and then like leaving the cave is enlightenment or something. Am I getting this? Actually, that one's simple enough. I could probably Google a decent explanation like right now. Plato's allegory of the cave is literally the first thing on Google. Plato has Socrates describe a group of people who have lived chained to the wall of a cave all their lives, facing a blank wall. The people watch the shadows projected on the wall from objects passing in front of a fire behind them and give names to these shadows, and the shadows are the prisoner's reality. Yes, I think I rough strokes got it. And then it's like, if the philosopher is like a prisoner who is freed from the cave and has come to understand the shadows on the wall are not reality at all, for he can perceive the true form of reality rather than the manufactured reality that is the shadows seen by the prisoners. So I basically got it in a shitty way. And of course the ship's part thing was referring to the name of the ship, right? The Theseus. The Theseus being from another philosophical allegory, being like, how many parts of the ship do you have to replace until it's basically a brand new ship, or how many parts can you replace while maintaining that it is still the original ship? Something like that. I think I got that. I think I got my shit together. At least on these parts. Which is, not replacing any of the ship's parts, and how can we jerk ourselves off philosophically if you don't lean into your clumsy illusions? It's a fair question, but since the name you suggested was nothing more than a very juvenile play on words, I can't say you've got much ground to stand on. What's juvenile about the Kant? So, this one did fly over my head a touch. I know that Kant is another philosopher. Is it supposed to be like the can't, like cannot? Kant, like philosophy? Was that the play on words? This was the one that I was gonna poke around about a little bit. I'm not so sure about the exact trail of reference for that one. What's juvenile about the Kant? Nothing, at least not when you say it. It's not my fault you sound like a gay cowboy. This was like a lot of people's favorite line from this update. And it's the interesting thing about it is, because a lot of people are like, does that mean that Striders have Texan accents? And yeah, a lot of people were very excited about the prospect of Striders actually having Texan accents. Or maybe it means that Dirk sounds like Lil Nas X. But that's just the place that my brain went. I actually don't know what Lil Nas X sounds like outside of like his singing voice. And even then, I have heard approximately 1/3 to half of Old Town Road and still have yet to hear the entire song in one sitting. Same. Yeah, I was like, when I went to work at the summer camp this summer, I was like, okay, Old Town Road is a big song. We're definitely going to end up playing that during the dance. This is the time. This is the time when I'm finally going to hear Old Town Road in its entirety. And I was like out of the room or doing other stuff every single fucking time it was on. So I still have only heard it in like separate chunks. I have never heard the entire song Old Town Road. And I know that he put out another song recently, like the music video. I saw clips from the music video. It looked fucking sick. But I still have yet to hear the actual song. But, yeah, anyway. That's where my brain went. Okay. Or maybe I'm getting him. I might be getting Lil Nas X mixed up with someone else. Oh, Orville Peck? That name sounds like the right name. Also, country music. He is the one who. I think I was thinking of Orville Peck when I said Lil Nas X. Or it could be, because I'm just thinking, like, wait a second. I'm not actually sure if Lil Nas X is gay or if I'm mixing him up with Orville Peck, because they did things together for a music thing. I can picture it in my head, but I don't remember what fucking award show it was. It was an award show. There was a lot of pictures of them together on the red carpet that went around because, of course, Lil Nas X was in, like, pink, bubblegum pink leather, and Orville Peck was, like, wearing a full, like, face mask with a bunch of long, like, strings coming off it and shit. Anyway, as you can see, I don't know shit fuck about what I'm talking about, so I should probably continue reading and move back into territory where I actually have a leg to stand on. Yes, so Rose says, it's not my fault, you sound like a gay cowboy. See what I have to deal with? And yes, I'm still here. For the time being, I want to keep things brief, narratively speaking. Yeah, so just letting us know that he can, he's flexing. It's just showing us that he can still do this, but he's choosing not to. The pictures where they were just like Batman villain OCs? Potentially. Here, okay, now I gotta find these pictures. Google Images. This is what I'm picturing. These outfits. That was the joke on Twitter that they look like super villains. I just seen like a shitload of things joking about Lil Nas X dressing like a JoJo villain, but he asked people to stop saying that he dressed like a JoJo villain, so I'm not going to continue that trope. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. Indeed. All right. Yes. The country music stars have been established. Moving forward. Look, we can have this argument later. I'll pencil it in. For now, we need to talk about Deltritus. Okay, so we get this beautiful thing here. So Deltritus is the name that Dirk has given to the planet, which he would like to check with Rose about. And there was something... So, one pattern that I can definitely speak to and not question what I'm saying. Is someone noticed it was like... We have like Alpha Universe, Beta Universe, Earth C. So we have A, B, C, and now Deltritus is D. So we have planets A, B, C, D. And Deltritus, I read a couple of breakdowns, but I was still kind of confused as to where exactly the name came from. I know someone mentioned something about, like, Delta, like the Greek alphabet, and detritus, like the word detritus, you know, like referring to, according, you know, Google definition, waste or debris of any kind. But I'm still kind of struggling to make the connection here. Aside from, like, the ABCD, then, like, this makes sense. So they talk a little bit more about the choice of name here, but it wasn't very clarifying for me. There's a couple other interesting things of note on this page. So this, you know, is pointing to here. So this appears to be potentially a map of this area. They've marked off here this X. This is the landing site. And they marked off local geography. Some notes on local geography. Caves, question mark? Potentially something. And then, fuck if I know. Scribbled out. And in between here, we have this lovely little doodle of Alt Calliope with blah blah huge bitch around it. So he's still bitter about that. Something about 3 light years, or from 3 light years from Earth C, I'm guessing. This nice little sketch of Rosebot. The Rosebot chassis, Rose with her dress. And a list of things to alchemize. Let's see. Additional pens. Got it. Something I'm... My best estimate is that would be food, I guess. And returning to the notes down here. Deltritus. Something class. I think they said what class it was in, like... It was either the postscript of the epilogue or the first chapter of Homestuck Squared, where they specifically said they were approaching a something class like planet. G roughly 8. Sciencey people might be a sciencey thing. My best guess is it means gravity. Yeah, alchemize additional pens. Crossed out. Done. Food, I guess. Not crossed out. Just didn't bother making any fucking food. God, Dirk. Wonderful prioritizing. I love this too. Atmosphere? Sure. Water? Lots. So fucking vague. Okay. Wow, look at this wall of... Oh, yeah, this is the really long one. Okay. Okay. We'll do this page and then we'll take a break. Because it is 11:50. I'm assuming this one is going to take at least 10 minutes. I'd like to suggest a preliminary topic of discussion. Shoot. Or rather, a point of constructive criticism. Yes. Oh, that name. Yes. It absolutely blows. Okay. In the interest of open-minded discourse, I'd like to counter by saying that I think it's pretty dope. But it's fine. We don't gotta settle for that. Do you have any better suggestions? No, I'm simply making an observation. Oohs are... Oh, fuck. That's... No, I turned them off until... I turned them off on Wednesday just because I was still working through the backlog. But I did intend to turn them back on. So I can actually do that, like, right now. And yes, they are back to having a limit of 10 per stream. I might lower the limit or raise the cost. I have to decide which one. And there's the redemption. Okay. So, start with Dirk. Let's say this is 1 uwu. Just keep that highlighted so I remember my stopping point. You could at least come up with an alternative. Making shit is hard. I think having a good name for this planet is an important first step in telling its story, which is what we're here to do. I agree. Names are potent symbols, after all. I just think we have a different understanding of what a good name entails in this instance. To be queer. It kind of sounds like to be queer. Hey. To be queer. I think it's the perfect name for this place. It's just that when it comes to habitable planets, I think there is some unwritten law of our reality which dictates that names should be either boring, like Earth, or insufferable, like Alternia or Obephorus. Oh, Deltwitus. All right, I get it. Yeah, so Rose is just making a remark on the naming conventions. You know, boring, like Earth, or insufferable, like the two names that Andrew Hussey came up with. or Deltritus. Insufferably boring gets you bonus points. I think that's partly the point of it. It's a name to be lived on. It becomes a kind of furniture, so to speak. Or I suppose you could see it as a place of origin, the absolute 0 point of growth. Kind of like a family name. A name some people are always trying to leave behind, because it's the only way to be sure that one is moving at all. It's the dirt beneath our feet. So I suppose, in a way, every planet is Earth. Right. We're not going to call this planet Earth as well, though. No, that would be far too cliché. Quadruply so, even. Deltritus it is. It's amazing how you've managed to both shit on my idea and make it seem a lot better justified in hindsight. Well, of course. I'm an author. I ply my trade on well-justified bullshit. Anyway, to business. Again. A lot of authors really appreciated this line, too. Yeah. The point is, we will be building intelligent life on this planet from scratch. That was one of our key mistakes with Earth-C. We should have started our guidance from the very beginning, instead of letting it grow organically in our image. I'm not sure I agree, but go on. No, please, knock yourself out. We stayed on topic for a few seconds, and I'd hate to make it a habit. Isn't that just, like, fuck Dirk, but, like, isn't this just, like, the mood? We stayed on topic for a few seconds, and I would hate to make it a habit. But, yeah, so Dirk thinks that one of their biggest mistakes was allowing Earthsea to develop organically without their very close guidance. Kind of with Rose on this one, where I'm not sure I agree. Our own world was abandoned by its gods, or I suppose its gods never reached it. The trolls beat their game, but were unable to actually claim their reward and take their places in its pantheon. In a sense, our creators abandoned us. And while I can't say that our world developed well, I don't think it would have been better off being guided, especially considering who would have been doing the steering. Although I guess you can't prove that kind of negative statement. Anyway, what exactly are you proposing? Ever heard of the watchmaker analogy? Yes. Damn, okay. Humor me anyway. Thank you, authors of Homestuck for actually explaining this. Because I'd be Googling that shit all over again. Okay. Say you're an alien and you're walking on a beach. Oh no, I remember this now. I haven't looked at this since I first read it, so I'm just like trying to think back to how I think I was still confused by this afterwards, but hopefully I'll understand it a little more after reading it this time. Say you're an alien and you're walking on a beach. An Earth beach, if that wasn't clear. You're an alien who has never come in contact with the human race before. So say you're an alien and you find a pocket watch on the beach. You've never seen anything like it before, so you pick it up and open it and try to figure out how it works. You see all the gears moving smoothly, all of the pieces fit together in a flawless interlocking pattern. Looking at the face, you realize that it keeps perfect time. You, the alien, ask yourself, how could something so perfect, with a flawless form suited to its task, have come into being? And so the argument goes, someone created it. Time needs to be told, so a craftsman made something to tell it. Exactly. This analogy always struck me as extremely contrived. Okay, so right. So the analogy is you find the clock is keeping perfect time. Well, it's keeping perfect time because someone made it to keep perfect time. I think that's the point they're getting at. Am I getting this? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, how many fucking pocket watches does one usually stumble across on the ground randomly? Fuck it, who stumbles across a pocket watch anywhere? This isn't the goddamn 1800s. That point in history when people were famously tripping over errant clockwork every time they went outside. And don't forget, there are aliens in this version of history too. Yeah, I think I might have made up that part though. Probably wasn't part of the original. Although, considering the version of Earth's history I was familiar with, I guess the aliens end up being the most believable thing in the whole setup. I suppose, in a way, this argument's own existence fulfills the same philosophical premise as the analogy itself. It's a scenario perfectly suited to its function, which is to convince you of the existence of intelligent design. One that is so unlikely to have arisen by chance that the presence of an artificer is the natural conclusion. It's this weird spiral of a concept, really. It's creators all the way down. Okay, now I get it. Hey, Gastertuso. We're about halfway through, I think. With this chapter. But yes, hello, welcome. Yeah, I think I get it now. Right. Scenario perfectly suited to its function, which is to convince you of the existence of intelligent design. Unlikely to have arisen by chance, the presence of an artificer is the natural conclusion. So Rose is saying that this argument is not a proof of intelligent design, and it's just been manufactured to be so. Finished reading Trickster Mode. That's always an accomplishment. That's a rough on the eyes part to get through. Yeah. But I guess my response here would be that this is an argument in favor of intelligent design being a fact. But, I guess my response here would be that this is an argument in favor of intelligent design being a factor in the creation of a universe. It is not an argument that intelligent design should be a factor in the creation of a universe. That's a question of morality. Yes, okay, now I understand. Second time through, I got it. Made you really sad as a Dirk Jake shipper. Oof, rip. Yeah, they had a rough moment in there. But yes, that's right. Argument in favor of intelligent design being a factor at all, not saying that it should be a factor. True. But if intelligent design is a reality, and I think our experiences indicate that, yeah, there's a pretty good chance, then wouldn't failing to continue it be an abdication of our responsibility? If we can order this world and we fail to, is that really any better than smashing the watch ourselves? You don't want to be responsible for screwing it up, and I get that. But failing to act isn't any more morally justifiable than acting wrongly. So it's really a moral argument that you're making. It sounds like we've detoured into the trolley problem here. Or maybe derailed is a more appropriate descriptor. I hope nobody is tied to the tracks of this conversation, at least. Rose, you're avoiding the question. You came here to this planet. You saw it in your mind's eye and chose to come here. More or less. He's so fucking smug about being a shithead manipulator. Do they get back together in the story? No. They don't. I mean, like, they left it kind of ambiguous that, like, they don't really talk to each other for the rest of Homestuck, and then there's some panels in the end of Act 6, not Act 6, just like in the very end of Act 6 before Act 7, that show them talking to each other on the platform, but to the best of our knowledge, they don't actually get back together, no. Sad shipper noises. Rip. Dirk is so fucking proud of being a shithead manipulator. But okay, so we've derailed into the trolley problem. So I'm thinking, right, when the first time I read this, I was kind of confused as to combination between which and what. What the branches of the trolley problem would be. And although I guess the trolley problem, the branches would be the inaction of not moving the switch and still running people over versus the action of moving the switch and then doing things wrong and hurting other people in different ways anyway. I have a brain and it functions. I can figure stuff out. So anyway, Dirk is like, you came here, you saw this and chose to come here, more or less, because he full fucking knows that he manipulated her into doing this shit. Fuck! It's always your option. Assume you are Superman and try to stop the trolley by force. Yes. I do believe that is the option that I would choose as well. Oh, new typing quirk. Cool. Yeah, assume you're Superman and try to stop the trolley by force. Damn, now I'm thinking about The Good Place. And the time when Michael decided to make the trolley problem real for cheating. Oh, that hurts so much to watch. Oh my god. I haven't seen season 4 of The Good Place, though, so please no spoilers for season 4 of The Good Place. I'm just kind of mentioning that scene offhand out of context because I was thinking about it. Oh god. Alternatively, what am I about to click on here? Oh, Spider-Man. I I should actually watch those movies. I have not seen the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I haven't seen any Spider-Man movies, actually, I don't think. But yeah, just for just for posterity and clarification, this was the image that Max sent in chat. Watch them for Joan and the Green Goblin. Okay. I will. They've been on the list of things that I, like, want to watch just because they seem like they're, like, frequently referenced pop culture things, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but, have not quite seen them yet. But yes. Trolley problem, indeed. Where was I? Ah, yes, Dirk being a fucking shithead piece of garbage. Wasn't that because, on some level, you wanted to have a hand in its future? No, it's because you fucking forced her, you shithead. Maybe. At least, I think so. It's a bit hard to weigh my motivations for coming against the reality of what we're proposing to do here. In the sense that I'm not sure quite how to even go about making it that kind of wow. I'm gonna start that sentence over again. In the sense that I'm not quite sure how to even go about making that kind of calculation. I want to create something wholly new. Something that's ours. But I can't help but wonder, what right do the two of us specifically have to do that? We won the game, though. We're literally fucking creators. We have as much a right as anyone possibly could. I don't know. I don't know about those statements and words. I'm not sure I feel good about putting that victory on my resume. Especially not since so much luck was involved, while the conclusion was simultaneously determined from the very beginning. A paradox which is typical of the complete mess that is our lives, and which possibly makes no sense to anyone but us. I suppose that's the point I'm trying to make. We quite possibly know more about our reality than anyone else ever could, which you could say makes us plenty qualified. But it's that self-same knowledge that tells me that maybe nobody could ever be qualified for this kind of creative endeavor. I'm fully with Rose. She's avoiding the question again. It's amazing how one can technically have the maximum amount of metaphysical awareness possible and still not notice these sorts of things. It's stuff like this that makes me wonder sometimes whether there's anything about myself that I'm missing. Then I throw that wonder in the garbage can and turn the incinerate setting on. Because there's... oh boy, there's layers there. That was a little bit of ironic self-deprecation on my part. I know that recently I made a habit of simply discarding things that are pointlessly difficult or irritating, or if you're so inclined, uncomfortable. It's something I learned in order to cope with... well, never mind. It's better this way, and I'm not going to air my trauma or whatever in front of all y'all. The point is that knowing about it doesn't mean that I don't do it, nor would it necessarily make it easier for me to stop if I wanted. Personal failings, if you can call this one, don't work that way. I would know. Yeah, so he almost starts saying something. You know, I never actually saw a lot of theorizing as to what he was about to say there. Learned in order to cope with what? Oh, the ironic self-deprecation. Learned in order to cope with... Amazing, but here, you're a prick. Yeah. That about sums it up. He's just, very, learning to cope with trauma. Yeah, like whatever trauma he was about to espouse of of the unfortunate great amount of trauma he's experienced in his life. It's definitely something to do with that. But yeah, I gotta say though, I kind of feel that like knowing about it doesn't mean I don't do it, nor would it necessarily make it easier for me to stop if I wanted to. That's kind of a mood and a half. If I'm honest. I also know Rose is probably just the same. She sees it happening and can't stop it, and takes a strange pride in knowing herself so well. And at the same time, she feels hurt to be so utterly predictable to herself. But that's a pain you have to lean into when presented with the sum total of all possible self-knowledge. I suppose this actually kind of answers the question about ultimate self-awareness. Damn, did we just identify and then immediately solve the mystery in the space of a few paragraphs? I think we mighta. Good work, us. Repeatedly getting your head cut off and dealing with a puppet that boasts a snake lordling as your guardian can have some amount of trauma. Indeed. Although Lil Cal did not house Lord English while Dirk had him. At that point in the Lil Cal timeline, he was empty. He had not yet been filled with the soul of Caliborn, Arqueus, and half of Gamzee. Even so, I want to do this. I have to want it. How could I not, after everything we gave up to make it happen? Walking away at this point would be... Well, regardless, we don't have the option. The Theseus is totaled. I almost want to make a joke about us not getting it insured, though I'm worried it might indicate what Dave would call early onset responsible adult syndrome. It's easy for him to make fun of us. He's immune. Possibly. He certainly wasn't showing any symptoms at his last checkup, but that was well over 3 years ago at this point. Rose looks off into space, seeming to exist at a great distance for a while. And then, at a perfectly calculated moment, she chuckles quietly, almost mournfully, to herself. I'm rambling again. Rose. She mentions Dave another time later on too, and I'm just like, Rose is thinking so much about what she left behind. Because as much as Dirk has got his sticky little fingers in there, pushing her inclinations in certain directions, she's still thinking about the family and the friends that she left behind. Like, this whole bit, which is fucking funny, that is fucking hilarious, that was some good shit, but it's like a cover over just the tiniest inkling of Rose still, despite Dirk's influence, he can't fully remove the part of her that is pulled back to the earth she never wanted to leave. But then just creepy as shit to live with a puppet who's basically a hip version of Slap. No, it's all good. I mean, I think that a puppet from Goosebumps is still a pretty good analog for Lil Cal. Slappy, I never read the Goosebumps book, but Slappy was the ventriloquist dummy one, right? Yeah. Slappy's still relevant. It was the ventriloquist dummy one. Yeah, so I think that still fits pretty well with Lil Cal. Rose needs a hug. Oh yes. Rose Rose does. Rose needs a hug from her wife, who loves her, and who she loves. And I'm really mad at Dirk now. I'm thinking about Rosemary, and I'm getting angrier at Dirk. Slappy was the... Yeah. Her wife. God. Can I hug your fucking wife? Yeah, they're on their way. They're working on it. They're coming. The boat. What's shit? Did that one have a name? I forget if the one with Dave and Karkat and Kanaya et al. Had a specific name. But they're coming. They're on their way. Phoenix! Hey, Phoenix! How's it going? It's been a while. Happy to see you around. Let's see. Lucky you lived in a world where lots of teenage girls practice ventriloquism and ventriloquists haven't abandoned dummies for less creepy-looking puppets. How aware Rose and Terzi are. Terzi seems more aware than Rose, and yet Dirk chooses to disregard her entirely, unless he knows something we haven't picked up on yet about how aware Rose is, since awareness seems like all Dirk cares about. Yeah. Like, Terzi, we kind of got that hinting from the epilogues already, right? That she has a level of awareness kind of above most, in, like, sensing Dirk's presence to the point of hearing his narratives, his own narrative speaking, and not just the narrative influence that he's aiming at her specifically. And Dave, right, there was that scene with Dave and Karkat where Dirk was, like, pushing really hard on Dave, and Dave had that, you know, that outburst of, like, stop fucking with my head, because he could feel something up. Or, you know, there's that part where in a Dave chapter, he, you know, says sometimes it's, you know, he always has the sense of what Dirk would say or what Dirk would do, which he thought was just knowing Dirk well, but was actually Dirk's narrative influence in his head, right? But other than that, Rose in particular, we haven't really seen much of her kind of awareness of this, or if she has any, how she feels about it, or how much she knows as to what exactly Dirk is doing to her. Because he took, I mean, when using his narrative influence in the epilogues, he took advantage of her when she was ill. Right? She was not in full possession of her mental faculties when he took advantage of her, right? She was physically ill, but also just mentally completely overwhelmed and unable to process. So yeah, it'll be interesting to further explore, hopefully be able to further explore the extent to which Rose in particular, because we already have kind of an idea of Terzi, but the extent to which Rose in particular is really aware of, or, like, senses what exactly Dirk is doing with his ultimate self powers. TV talent shows ventriloquists have mostly switched to cartoon animal. The one good thing Jeff Dunham did for comedy. God. Just call Dirk dork. He's a dork. You still don't understand why a light player wouldn't have more influence over the narrative than a heart player. What did you... Whoa! Calm with the all caps. I was just off on a diatribe. I wasn't looking at chat. By taking advantage of, I mean, like, he saw that she was in a weakened state, both physically and mentally, and used that weakened state to manipulate her in ways that she would not what's it called? In ways that she would not have allowed herself to be manipulated if she was fully healthy, fully in her own mind. So, you know, and by, you know, taking advantage of, I mean, like, he used that state to get her to go onto the ship and to go into the robot and to, you know, all that kind of stuff. Still don't understand where a light player would have more influence over the narrative than a heart player would. Yeah, that, I mean, there's that, and there's also, like, why is Dirk able to handle the ultimate self in his physical form, but Rose can't? Right, and it makes her physically ill. I mean, there's theorizing that, because, I mean, Dave couldn't handle the full force of the ultimate self either. He ended up becoming Davebot in Candy. But, I've seen some theories that it's because Dirk is bluffing and he's not actually a complete ultimate self. But it could also just have to do with class-backed type stuff. Yeah. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Why the heart player over the light player, right? Yeah, and then it's really interesting to see how Rose kind of talks herself into it in this conversation. Right? Because she's not fully on board, but she's, like, convincing herself to be fully on board because she looks around at the circumstances and she's like, well, what other choice do I have? It's okay. I'm sure there was some good reasoning buried fuck deep in there somewhere. Future archaeologists will unearth it eventually. It sounds like you've made up your mind, though. Maybe. She hesitates again. Not sure? Oh, come on, Rose. Yes, you are. You know this is what you want to do. More than that, you know that it's the right thing to do. Might as well get it over with. Fine. Excellent. You shithead. She is not fully on board with this. And you... See, that's the thing, is that through this conversation, we don't get any sort of inkling that Rose is aware that this decision-making, this thought process is the result of Dirk specifically and not her own waffling. You know what I mean? You've theorized that the physical illness is a result of the ultimate self forced upon you instead of coming into it at your own pace, like Rose Pettis squared. And Dirk probably did. Rose Pettis squared? Do you mean Dave Pettis squared? And Jaspros? Sprite squared? But, yeah. No, that is an interesting theory as well, that it's like that kind of illness is from it just coming on far too fast. Yeah, and that does line up with Davebot as well, because Dave didn't just come into that. Dave met fucking Ghost Obama. God damn it. And he, you know, worked magic to have Dave, like, instantly ultimate self. But, yeah. You messed that up. No, it's fine. It's kind of like a portmanteau to refer to the two sprites at the same time. Dave Pettis sprite and Jasper's sprite as well. I'm tired. Yeah, it's all good. That's all good. But yeah, no, that is an interesting theory, and it does line up with all of the kind of instances that we've seen so far. I was saying something. Did I finish my point? Yeah, it's really hard to tell that if Rose has any awareness at all that Dirk is doing this, or if maybe it's, I feel like potentially, there could be some relation between the amount of trust that Rose kind of organically already had for Dirk before he started doing this, that maybe that trust is a weigh-in factor as to just how much someone detects the other person's presence in this kind of situation. You know what I mean? Like, what's it called? Like I think with Dave, for example, Dave worked towards having that better relationship with Dirk and trusting him more, but was still in that moment of strong push. He could sense that Dirk was there because there's still that mistrust because of Bro, right? Although that doesn't quite explain why Kanaya was so easily sated. So I guess my theory is incorrect then. I'm taking that back. I'm taking my theory back. No, it's not valid. Because Kanaya, through her whole thing where she was freaking out, and in that moment, she completely distrusted everything that Dirk was saying, everything that he was up to, everything that was happening, but didn't realize that it was his manipulations until it was pointed out to her afterwards by Jade. Or was it Roxy? No, I'm pretty sure it was Jade who pointed that out. So never mind. Never mind. Cross all of that out. What? Don't look at me like that. She was already on board with it in all but name, and we both know it. So why waste our time? You've got better things to do, and as of right now, so do Rose and I. I cordially invite you all to fuck off with your judgmental attitude, by which I mean fuck off right back here, because we've still got important exposition to deal with. Okay. Almost done this page. Oh my god, it's like 12:30. I thought this page was going to take 10 minutes. It took 40. So we're going to take 5 minutes after this so I can have a sip of water and just rest my voice for a little bit. Although I do think we're close-ish to the end of this chapter. Potentially. Don't take my word on that. You mentioned playing a game together. I take it that this is involved somehow. Bingo. And I take it you have a format of play in mind as well? Yep. So I guess the basic premise is, yeah, we could establish a new civilization on Deltritus, cook up a new freakish alien species and steer them towards playing the game at a distance using the command terminal. It would certainly be a challenging application of our combined skills, but it doesn't strike me as being all that fun by itself. For clarity's sake, the second game you were referring to here is the game that we played 10 years ago? Spurp, or Scrub, I guess, whatever it'll be called this time around. Okie dokes. Good night, Jade. See you around. Yeah, that's the game. Gotta be careful with those capitals. The game between the two of us is going to be different. I propose we turn this into a contest of sorts. Each of us takes responsibility for creating our own separate species, each with their own design, society, and culture. Then we pit them against one another to see which will ultimately play the game. For the love of God, please let's call it something else. If only for the sanity-fraying memories of memes long past. Was losing the game a thing in 2009? I feel like it was more of a 2010 thing. But that might just be all of those years blending together for me. That's our culture you're talking about. Have some goddamn respect. Actually, it was my culture. I think it's more accurate to say that you appropriated it 400 years later. You're right, I'm sorry. Mea culpa. I regret everything. I should know what this is referring to, but I don't recognize that turn of phrase. Can't believe you just lost the game again. I know, right? God. But, like, okay, this whole idea to turn it into a competition is just, like, so many red flags. Oh my god. Like, this is... This ain't The Sims. Y'all are playing with real, actual, biological beings. Oh my god. Oh, mea culpa, Latin for my mistake. Ah. Twice within a year, you were free. Oh, rip. But, okay. Thank you, Max. Yeah, that... I understand now. God damn it. Mea culpa. Oy. But, like, this is just... It's setting off a lot of big alarm bells for me. So, Dirk is going to explain the competition a little bit further. But before then, we're going to take 5. Because I need water. I need more water. I need to rest my voice just a little. And then we will push through to the end of this chapter. So, flash that break text up. And we will be back in 5. Hello, I am back. Apologize for my lateness. I was just filling up my water bottle. Okay. Without further ado then, let's get back into this questionable plan. Bullshit aside, that's the contest I'd like to propose. 2 gods, 2 species, 1 copy of the game. We have a lot of time to kill before it's ready to play. Might as well have some fun in the meantime. I'm intrigued. That's good. Intrigued is good. Right, so the only thing that's kind of strongly of note in this panel is the color for this session. It appears to be a Jane blue. That's good. Intrigued is good. I have a few questions before we begin. First and most pressing, how do you suppose we go about doing this? What are our raw materials? Unless you're planning on giving me a rib, I'm not sure what we are going to work from. Yes, the old Bible story of Eve coming from one of Adam's ribs. That's fair enough. There doesn't appear to be anything in the way of animal life on this planet for us to use. But that's not important. We've got all the raw material we've got all the raw material we need already. Quite literally, in fact. We're going to make a new species out of us. I see. So, just as an aside that I just remembered, there was a lot of excitement about new planet, new alien species, what's it gonna be? And it turns out the answer is whatever the fuck they make, I guess. Rather than having a pre-established alien species, they're creating it themselves. Don't worry, it doesn't imply actually breaking ourselves down into usable matter or anything like that. What I mean is that we have 2 humans' worth of genetic material to start from. And more importantly, the technology to use that material to synthesize something new. So, ectobiology, then. That's part of it, yeah. Let's take this into the lab. The lab. Yeah. It's just another fucking cave, okay? Dirk and Rose proceed to lab. So in the lab we see this kind of mess of a combination of alchemy things, frog breeding things, whole lot of sperm technology happening here. This cave has lab-like ambiance, I'll give it that. And I've seen a few labs in my time. Sweet. It's got the Lalonde witticism of approval. None could be higher. No honor could be higher. Yeah, what's it gonna be? HS2. Wow, it's fucking nothing! Yeah, basically. I'm sure I could have come up with something better if I wasn't still internally reeling at the prospect of us becoming our own biblical progenitors. Yeah. The old bearded man in the sky wishes he had one of these babies, though. Sorry, that was my phone giving me an email notification so that I know that Google is updating their fucking terms of service. Fine. Okay, whatever. Yeah, the old bearded man in the sky wishes he had one of these babies, though. All he had was heterosexuality and a very long con. Although I guess they're both essentially the same thing. Oh, shit. This was... Rose had a lot of zingers in this one, and I think this one was my favorite. There's something so delicious about the 2 of us being the ones to populate an entire planet from scratch. The irony doesn't get much sweeter. Yes, they're referring to, This is one of the things that came up in a lot of the kind of academically written papers about Homestuck as a radically queer piece of media, is, the idea that these queer characters are the progenitors of the new society, coming from a society where, a large portion of homophobia is about them being unfit to be about us being unfit to be parents, or because of inability to reproduce for whatever, and how they are the ones to build this new society. So I believe that's what Rose is kind of poking into there. How quickly you learn, my child. I'm so proud of you. Anyway, that horse shit aside, touching. It turns out that basically all of the equipment that Spurg gave us can be integrated into one device with the ability to perform both alchemical and ectobiological functions. The idea is pretty simple. We each contribute our own genetic sequences in the form of paradox slime and then use it as a base to graft new material onto using alchemy. Doesn't that strike you as a little... what? Incestuous slurry adjacent? Oh, that shouldn't be an issue. We're each going to be keeping our slime to ourselves. How courteous. In any case, after the base material is collected and the alchemical mix is finalized, we rapidly accelerate the development of the synthesized life forms to a point at which they can form a society of sorts. So, in theory, what the mayor and his associates did on Earth C, but just larger in scope, instead of staying within the framework of a species that already exists. And here, we won't be waiting thousands of years for the development to happen in real time. This plays to our advantage in more ways than one. For one thing, it's pretty clear that we aren't going to get this right in the first try. I've been conceiving of this as a long game of many individual moves, each of us building and advancing in response to the concepts thrown out by the other. Think of it as collaborative world building. All those D&D nights on the Meteor finally turned to my advantage. Yeah, boy! I love the fact that this is like saying that they definitely did D&D Nights on the Meteor, but, like, it also hurts me because then it makes me think of the Paradox space comic where they all walk away from Terezi and leave her sad sitting in front of an empty table. D&D Nights, I deem D&D Nights on the Meteor canon, but that comic not. Okay, I think I understand the premise well enough. Why don't you start things off? Roll the first die. Alright, sweet. Okay. So he's getting his own genetic data from the end of this whole clusterfuck from the first part. From the prologue, so to speak. So there's his Paradox slime. Into the tube goes. First things first, getting a hold of myself. There's about 15 different unfunny jokes we could make about that, but let's just fucking chill for once in our goddamn lives. Agreed. And I'll make no mention of you sucking yourself in any capacity. God shitting damn it. That was good. So, the star stands for something. But so, right, Dirk combined with these card slots makes just a regular Dirk, because there's nothing here. So we get the genetic sequence and the, the GCAT genetic code sequence as well. Next step is adding mutations. We can use any old shit for this. Literally any capture loggable objects can be added into the mix by inserting its card into one of the slots wow, sometimes asterisk is, well, I know asterisk is multiplication, but I don't know, sometimes, what was it about the alchemy system when John was using it? Was like ands and ors, but they were using and sides in like division signs or something. I don't know. What I'm saying is I can't quite tell in this particular situation whether or not they are using the asterisks to mean multiplication or are giving it a new meaning of some sort. Because Dirk multiplied by the 6 things in the card seems not quite, I don't know, it feels off to me, but like as a way of genetically combining things, but maybe it makes sense and I just don't know anything about biology. Where was that? Right. We can use any old shit for this. Literally any capture loggable object can be added into the mix by inserting its card into one of the slots here. And by using a combination of ands, ors, and so on, we can apply the science of alchemy to that of ectobiology, alchemical biology, if you will. In the original process of breeding the Genesis frog, we'd be doing kind of the opposite, screening out distortions in his divine genetic waveform, so to speak. Here we're adding noise deliberately, kind of like a genetic sweeper on hello-jeffification. Inside of this machine is one big artificial genetic infidelity bonanza. Dave would approve. That's the second time she makes reference to Dave. She's thinking about Earthsea, y'all. It hurts my heart. So, what are the things that Dirk decides to toss in first? A blue cactus, a green squiddle, and some blue gushers. What's up? I thought you had to punch the cards to use them in the shunt slots. I recall devising a sequence of analogies for the process in my walkthrough, once upon a time. Hardly my best work, but the principles were sound. No, you're right. I was being politely self-effacing, Dirk. You didn't have to agree with me. About the holes in the cards, I mean. I'm not really sure why we don't have to do that anymore. I think this machine punches the cards with the correct pattern once you put them in. Although the implication is that it somehow reads what is on the card in order to punch it with the holes which enable it to read that same information. That sounds like an appropriate degree of profound ridiculousness. I love it. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised you remember anything about this shit. Even though we can't technically forget anything anymore. Me too. It's amazing what pieces of inconsequential information your mind can recall at a moment's notice, a whole decade after they were last relevant or interesting to anyone. I think I missed this. So I think by this, she's referring to just the simplicity of messing around with alchemy. I mean, at least that's what I'm guessing she's referring to. Okay, that should be everything taken care of. This will be my first move, the opening gambit in the grind game of fate for this planet. All that remains is to see the result. Indeed. Press the button, Doctor. Dirk. Push the button. Ecto-alchemologize. Woo! And behold my creation. This is a fucking beautiful panel. Absolutely stunning. I love this panel so much. Dirk and Rose. Behold. Complete. Yeah. The only reason I didn't answer you, Max, was because the answer is that yes, this absolutely is the instance that gives birth to the blue spiny squid with raspberry heads. Dirk. Rose. They're both just looking at it like, wow. This is really something, huh? Game on. And she's stretching her arms even though she's a fucking robot and she doesn't have to do that. Okay! You were joking? Oh, boy. I don't know what to tell ya. As far as you know, Homestuck has never made any reference to the advertised mutagenic properties of gushers before. Oh, you were referring to the Gushers commercials. I see. I thought that you might have seen some minor spoilers, because you described it so astutely. That's true, though. Homestuck has never done a Gushers will make your head into a giant fruit reference. But this is about as close as we're gonna get, is that little wiggly thing. And this was the thing that I saved, like father, like son, because this was the Toblerone reward where somebody asked for Dirk, Dave, and Dave Pettit to be drawn without their glasses, and this was the image of Dirk with these tiny little beady eyes, like father, like son. Oh my. Well, here is where we end our journey for now. We'll pick back up in about a week, I suppose. So that'd be the other end half of the month. Holy shit, February's almost over. Fuck me. 2 weeks? Oh no, not 2 weeks, because this came out a week ago. This came out a week ago, so we got about a week left, roughly, until the next update. God, I can't believe it's like almost all the way through February. Boy, oh my god. Just give my brain like a split second to process that information. Ooh, my. Anyway, let's not think about that right now. Let's just think about tomorrow. Because tomorrow's coming up. And tomorrow we're going to be streaming Homestuck. I was about to say Homestuck Squared again. Pester Quest. But you had to say it. You think all this reading of a comic where they quote dumb and smart action movies all the time, put it in your mind. I see. Yeah. That's fair. But yeah, I don't even want to think about a week ahead right now. I have so much, oh my god. I have so much stuff to do for school. I'm so... Yeah, I really need to fucking graduate, you know what I mean? Total Recall. I see. Yeah, I don't think I ever, like, mentioned anywhere on here, but, like, I got into the college program that I applied to. So, like, woohoo! I have plans for September now. However, I need to actually graduate university first, which means passing all of my courses. So, oh boy. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'll be okay. I'll get through it. I know I will. It's just, I'm probably gonna have to go out kicking and screaming. Anyway, I can't believe February's almost over. Tomorrow, right, I was talking about tomorrow. We're talking about just focusing on one day at a time. Tomorrow, Jake English Pester Quest. Streaming Jake's Pester Quest tomorrow, same time, same place. Yeah, and One Shot, I resumed One Shot streams, this passing Wednesday, and we'll continue them this coming Wednesday. We are on, not the final area of the game. My brain wants me to say we're on the final area of the game just because we've gone from the Barrens into the Glen, and now we're in the Refuge. But we aren't at the tower yet, and I'm sure the tower will be a whole area of its own with its own puzzles and stuff. Also, I've never played this game before, so I have no totally accurate way of judging exactly how far through we are. But it's a good time. If you like interesting story and watching people play puzzle games coming out, it's a good time. It's a fun time. And yeah. So, tomorrow is Pester Quest. Next Wednesday is One Shot. And just as an estimate, next Friday, Saturday, functioning under the assumption that there will be another Homestuck Word update somewhere in there, I may or may not decide to stream it the same day that it comes out, if it also comes out on a Saturday. Because I like leaving a little bit of space to do some reading, absorb some conversation, and bring a fuller picture to the update for discussions. But we'll see. If it comes out next Saturday, I might not even have time to read it before stream, because next Saturday I'm working till 7. I'm on a closing shift. RIP. So it'll probably just be 2 Homestuck reread streams next weekend. That's my best guess. But yeah, that's what's happening. Bringing it back, because my brain just keeps, like, rocketing into the future. Pester Quest. Fuck, I keep wanting to say Homestuck Word. Pester Quest. Pester Quest, Pester Quest. Pester Quest, Pester Quest. Jake English. Tomorrow. It's happening. Okay. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I hope you've all had a fun, lovely time. I've certainly really enjoyed discussing this with all of you. I'm very excited to see where the story takes us for the next update, whether we'll get another chapter returning to characters we've seen before, or if we will see some more folks we have not seen yet. I really want to see Candy Rosemary. I want to see Candy Rosemary so badly, and I want to see Candy Carcat so badly. But I suppose I will have to be a little patient. Alright, I'm gonna sleep, I guess. Probably. I should probably go to bed. Because speaking of work, I have to be there at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So, I should rest. Alright. That is all. Have a wonderful, splendid rest of your day. Whatever you may be getting up to. Fingers crossed, I will be seeing you all right back here at some point in the near future. And, good night. And we'll finish off Planet Healer to play us out.